Anyway, some of Little Creek's friends arrive, they chuck him a knife, he cuts himself free, but he has to wait for dawn. And the fort then receives word that there are enemies to the north, probably the Lakota, and they have to go soon. And so instead of doing that though, the Colonel decides that now's the time to break in the Mustang, to break in Spirit. And this scene, pretty epic, not gonna lie. And the Colonel, well, he's a bit of a beast. Yeah, he weakens Spirit beforehand, but even so, he does get portrayed as competent at the very least. He's probably a bad person, yes, and he does bad things, yes, but I do enjoy when a villain is also skilled. He isn't just some bumbling fool. It makes the hero feel all the more impressive when they overcome them, but really just ups the tension and the drama. And that's what happens here, because for a moment I actually forgot the story and thought, oh shit, he's gonna break him. And he briefly does, but only so we can get some maximum schadenfreude, as the Colonel starts talking a big game about westward expansion and conquering and civilizing the Lakota people, and then he gets his ass bucked into next week and he pulls a gun because he's American. And he's embarrassed, and the other horses are cheering on Spirit's defiance, and there's dissension in the ranks, and you can't have that. Oh man, that's how you know it's an older animation, by the way. Stuff like this, or Clayton from Tarzan full-on killing Kerchak the king gorilla. Like, you don't really see that much of that anymore, using actual guns. Little Creek and Spirit team up in well, it feels very much like a Pirates of the Caribbean Jack Sparrow scene, where they're smashing through things, making crazy jumps, shooting out locks in the nick of time. And then they free the other horses and they all escape, only for more Lakota to show up and rope Spirit. Sucked in, mate. And they take him back to the village, where Spirit starts to get the hots for Little Creek's horse, Rain. And for the next little while, we have the Lakota try to tame him, and also a fair bit of non-verbal horse romance, which is not something I was looking for in a movie, if we're being honest. But the story's so good, and the interaction's so fun and varied, that it actually drew me in, got me invested, absurd as that may sound. And there, in the middle of this cute little sequence with a little baby Lakota, and Spirit's there, and he's all sweet and gentle. And here I am, sniffling. And then I feel my girlfriend's presence. Her mocking voice reminding me that I'd called this movie mid. Yes, I know, I'm sorry! And you know what? This movie, it's not something you see very often. It's so peaceful. Like, there are moments of action and suspense, but most of it is reflecting on the beauty of nature and the land and animals, culture. It's kind of like a Studio Ghibli film. Like, thinking My Neighbor Totoro or something like that. Ponyo even. Where there's drama, yes, but the film is about more than just that. I don't know, it's just nice. It's not often you get films like this from one of the big American studios. More and more I become very sad that this film did poorly financially. I think it could have ushered in a different era. And then there's the big emotional climax of this sequence, as Little Creek realizes that Spirit needs to be free, that he won't be tamed, that he shouldn't be tamed, and so he lets him go, and Spirit and Rain, well, he wants her to come with him. She wants to stay. But before it can be resolved, the Americans arrive, all ready to attack the Lakota and destroy the village, which was unexpected. I'll be honest, this last 20 minutes or so of the film, I'm kind of feeling like Gandalf in Moria. Spirit and Rain go to help. Rain and Little Creek charge the Colonel, and she rears up to prevent her rider getting shot dead, and she falls in the river, a raging river. Bit of a dangerous place to camp, really. There are little kids around that could stumble in and be swept down the waterfall that is just right there. Why wouldn't you camp at the lake down the way? Anyway, Rain's swept away. Spirit saves Little Creek from being finished off by the Colonel, and then he jumps into the river to save Rain. He succeeds. He's dragged away by the army. Rain's left to die from her gunshot wound. But this ain't that sort of movie. She's not dying, don't worry. And Little Creek turns up, of course, but still, this whole sequence where he's dragged off with the other captive horses from the Lakota and put on the train, some sad shit. Why am I so sad watching this movie? And DreamWorks and sad song montages. Name a more iconic duo. I'll wait. So they turn up at the railway. Spirit realizes this train's going to run right through his homeland, and that he needs to stop them before it's too late. And so, of course, this horse leads a rebellion and a mass breakout and destroys the train by letting it tumble back down the hill. It hits the town or the base or whatever that is, and it blows it up. The forest starts burning. Little Creek's there to help him. They escape the flames, and the next day the Colonel turns up. He tries to kill them, and at long last, after like 40 minutes of build, Spirit finally lets Little Creek ride him properly as they escape from the Colonel in an epic chase that culminates with Spirit leaping across a massive canyon like the absolute Chad that he is. And this earns the Colonel's respect, and so he lets him go. Pretty interesting and fresh ending, honestly. And so then they return to the new camp. Rain and Spirit reunite, and we give them this bittersweet farewell to Little Creek, before we end the movie with the happy reunion of his mum and all the horses, and they're running together, and why am I crying? As I've just recounted, the movie absolutely slaps. Like, I don't know, it's just perfect, isn't it? It's not too long, you'll love to see it, only 80 minutes. And so much of that isn't heavy drama. It's character building, bonding, peace, serenity.
How's the serenity?
It's so unique compared to pretty much any other animated film I've seen. But when the action starts, it's still fun and bombastic and hypes you up. And so at times it feels like a really interesting roller coaster ride. It's gorgeous as well. And like I said, it makes you long for this style, traditional infused with 3D, to make a comeback even though you know it never will. And the music, I will always return. Here I am. This is where I belong. Sound the bugle. Bangers. Bangers that nobody ever seems to speak about. No one talks about this soundtrack enough. I'm telling you what. I'm sorry. I was wrong. And we're going to end the video here. And from now on, I'm going to pretend like I never slandered Spirit. It's not mid, okay? So why would you even say that? Jeez. So anyway, with all that being said, these have just been my opinions. And now I'd like to hear yours. What do you think of Spirit? Do you like it like me? Based me? Or do you hate it like some foolish people? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.